Joe here from H145 RotorSims, and today we are going to do a quick setup and a review of the Max Flight Controls H145. So this is my configuration. Of course, I have some anti-torque pedals, I have a cyclic, and I have this beautiful collective. So let's go ahead and get started and go to step number one. So the first step is to go ahead and get your controls connected to the control box that Max Flight provides. Now he does label all the cables, which I can definitely appreciate. So for example, this one is labeled 7. You want to make sure this is plugged into port number 7. And also another note is to make sure that you have all of these cables plugged in for your controls before you plug your USB into your computer and power it on. So go ahead and get that connected, and let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, now that our connections have been made to the control box, you're going to go ahead and plug in your USB cable. Now, one quick tip, you want to make sure that you unplug every other USB device that is a game controller, because you don't want to confuse the calibrations, and you want to make sure that we're actually selecting the correct device to calibrate. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our keyboard, and we're going to click the Windows key and S, and I'm going to type in Setup USB Game Controllers, and there it is on the list. We're going to go ahead and click that. So now we're going to see our game controllers window, and mine says Arduino Micro. Yours might say something a little bit different. And now we're going to go ahead and click on the Properties tab. Now I've already calibrated my device, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So as we can see, we have our cyclic that's moving around. We have our X rotation for our anti-torque pedals, and of course our Z axis in regards to our collective. Now you can see that we have all our buttons, they're flashing on the screen. However, it is only limited to 32 buttons on the screen, but I'm going to show you how to find out the information on what the other buttons are. So let's go ahead and first do the calibration cycle. Next, we're going to go back to the Settings tab, and then we're going to go to Calibrate. And now we're going to get this prompt for the calibration wizard, and we're going to go ahead and click Next. So now what it is telling us to do is to move the handle in complete circles, then press a button on the controller. Now you won't be able to press a button on the controller, so I want to point that out. But let's go ahead and move our cyclic all the way around, full range of motion. And then we're going to go ahead and bring this back to the center position. And then we're going to go ahead and click Next instead of a button on the controller. Now it's going to say leave the handle centered, then press a button on the controller. Again, you're not going to be able to hit a button on the controller. Click Next. And so for your Z axis, that is going to be your collective. Now mine is not going to register because it's already calibrated, but you're going to go ahead and push this all the way down and then pull all the way up nice and smoothly. And I would do this about 3 or 4 times, and then leaving it in the down position before clicking Next. So let's go ahead, my collective is in the down position. Let's click Next. Now the X rotation are for my anti-torque pedals, so full range of motion all the way to the right, all the way to the left. I know this feels like an exercise video. Feel free to count with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Just kidding. Let's go ahead and move all the way to the right, all the way to the left, and then bring it back to center, and then take our feet off the controls before clicking the next button. So let's go ahead and click Next. Now I don't have a Y rotation, I do not have a Z rotation, and I do not have a throttle rotation, so I'm going to go ahead and prompt all the way through those and then click Finish. Now as we can see, we have full calibration. We can now see our X rotation, and we also have our Z axis. So next we're going to jump into Microsoft Flight Simulator and do a quick review and see how this thing reacts with the motion platform. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, let's check the responsiveness on the ground. You can see we have some movement here, which is good. Go ahead and get our landing light on. Let's get wild with this bad boy. Okay, so I'm going to bring up a little bit of collective. There we go. Just kind of reverse out of here a little bit. Let's go ahead and transition to forward flight. Let's say you look outside, make sure we have right rudder, left rudder, or anti-torque. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of roll. And let's check our pitch. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and enable the autopilot. Okay, so the autopilot is turning to our heading. And let's make sure I have override hands on, which I do because we are going past the dead zone that I have in the iPad. And then when I let go, it should automatically start to acquire once again. Okay, so the autopilot is currently holding our altitude, our heading, and our airspeed. If we go ahead and we just turn our heading knob to the right, we're going to start banking to the right. So let's say 150. Everything is very responsive still in the motion. Let's go ahead and climb up to 2,000 feet. And now the icon just turned blue. I'm going to go ahead and press the button to have the autopilot start acquiring the new altitude. Okay, we're just coming up on 2,000 feet. Okay, now let's start talking about the controls. Okay, so we have everything connected and we have our calibration done in Windows. So now we are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and I recommend that you start off cold and dark to make sure that none of the controls are activated. Now you may get something that pops up when you hop into Microsoft Flight Simulator that states that it recognized a new USB controller. But in essence, if we go into our control options, you're going to see whatever name of your controller is. So in my case, it's Arduino Micro. And what we're going to be looking for is, I actually renamed this to Max Flight H145 controls. Down in the flight control surfaces, primary control surfaces, you want to make sure that your cyclic longitudinal axis is set to joystick L axis Y, set cyclic lateral axis to joystick L axis X, and then you have your rudder axis, which is actually your anti-torque pedals. So you can see that I have two of them that are reversed. So for example, I will go ahead and uncheck these. I'll hop back into Flight Simulator here. And now I'm actually pushing forward on the cyclic in real life, and then back here, I'm actually pulling on it, so it is reversed. Same deal with the collective. So I will go ahead and jump back into my control options and reverse these axes. And make sure you hit apply and save, which is F11, or you can just click apply and save. Now, if you don't see these, because right now I have them set up because they are as assigned, so you want to go ahead and take your filter, maybe jump it to all, and then you can search by name. So the key thing to look for is going to be set cyclic lateral and longitudinal, and also rudder. So let's click apply and save, go back, resume. And so now my cyclic, I'm pushing forward and I'm pulling back, and it's working. My anti-torque pedals are in the right direction, as well as my collective. This is up and I am pushing down. Next, we're going to go ahead and set our assistance options. So let's go ahead and press escape, go back into assistance options. And what we want to look under is piloting. So these are the options you want set to have the optimal helicopter experience with the H145 from Hype Performance. Auto rudder needs to be off, assisted yoke off, assisted checklist off, assisted landing is off, assisted takeoff is off, AI radio communications are off, AI anti-stall protection is off, auto trim is off, assisted controller sensitivity off, gliders, you can just put that to off, helicopter assisted tail rotors off, helicopter assisted cyclic off, turbulence I have set to realistic, And so the reason why you want specifically the assisted tail rotor assist to be off is because it does have a problem with the AFCS system where the autopilot will try to fight it a little bit. So it's very important you have that particular setting actually turned off. So once that's all set, go ahead and apply and save, and then now we can go back. Okay, let's jump back into our control options one more time. Let's go to sensitivity. Let's make sure that we have our flight control selected. Let's click on sensitivity, and what we want to make sure is that our dead zones are all the way to 0%. Don't set any curves like what you would see, let's say something like this. We don't want to see any of this stuff. Yeah, I know some people want to smooth things out, but you really want linear responses with helicopter controls. So just go ahead and reset this. So after you have your dead zone set to 0%, go ahead and click done and click apply and save, go back, and then jump back into the H145 cockpit. And now let's go ahead and open up the iPad. Okay, now we are actually staring at the iPad inside the H145. You can do this from inside the simulator. So we're going to go onto the iPad unit and now click on Setup. And so what we're looking for here is we see cyclic sensitivity. We also see hands-on detection. This is going to be very, very important, and I'll explain why. And also, I want to make sure that our dead zone is set to default. Dead zone is default. And then our cyclic trim settings, our pedals, ATT modes, this is how I have everything set. Okay, so this is very important. So you can see I have my hands on set to 12. I have my feet on set to 13. Now this is going to vary based on your setup and just how sensitive your controls really are. But basically what we're looking at here is, see when I move the cyclic, you notice that in our MFD override comes on, and also the hands-on actually comes on as well. So this can make it very difficult to take control over the autopilot if your dead zone is too high, or if it's too low. It'll actually interfere with the autopilot actually capturing the altitude, the airspeed, and also the vertical speed and anything else that you're asking the autopilot to do. So in this case, I like to keep my hands on a little bit high. So maybe this one here, I'll move this up. Let me go make sure it says not hands on, because I don't think you can actually move this unless it's away. Okay, there we go. So now it's going to take some pretty extreme pressure to actually hit the hands on, and that's actually pretty good. Actually 30 is good, because I want to make sure that I stay within this range so I don't interfere with the autopilot. And same deal with the feet on. Right now I'm neutral, so to the right and to the left. So I probably want to set this so that if I make extreme movements, that's when it actually kicks on. See how it says feet on, and we should be seeing override actually show up inside the MFD, which we do. Okay, so the max flight controls are very unique in regards to, they have a damping system. So for our cyclic, it is nice and smooth, and when I push this baby forward, she stays put. And if I pull it back, she stays put, left and right. And also the same thing with the collective. This is very, very hard to get right. I know that there's other manufacturers and they have this, interesting mechanism which is just clamping force, but a dampener is really needed, because I had taken my old Verpil and I put a motorcycle dampener on it just to make it function. So as you see, this actually takes some force to bring this all the way up and push it all the way down. And when I pull it up, wherever it is, it stays there. And I absolutely love the feel of this collective. The same with the anti-torque pedals. They have dampeners on each side, and they do not spring back to center, which is very, very important. So this is a nice set of rudders or anti-torque pedals that you can pick up for yourself. Now, so next, let's talk about customer service. Now, Max is unbelievable. I had a lot of questions. I'm a very serious sim enthusiast, obviously, and I had a ton of questions, and he answered them day and night. And it was just an amazing experience all the way throughout. He's now currently making a couple of custom adapters for me so I could mount my cyclic to a force feedback controller, or base, I should say, which is going to be the Moza, so I will be making a video on that. And I'm in the process right now working out the motorized collective. So I'm going to provide some close-up shots of the controls, some nice video footage. And again, Max's customer service was second to none. Even took the anti-torque pedals and made these particular foot pedals the way I wanted them. And it's just been an amazing experience, and you cannot go wrong with getting Max flight controls. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to him. You can also reach out to me. Replication of this is just unbelievable. I mean, it's pretty much dead on to the real aircraft after I did some comparison shots from the real one. It's pretty amazing. Let's jump into the VKB Button Tester. If you don't know what it is, it's a free tool and it's extremely helpful. When you have devices that exceed more than 32 inputs, the Windows default game controller will only allow you to view 32, so the VKB tool will allow you to view up to 128 inputs. As you can see, I'm physically pushing the buttons on my Max controls and the tool is generating a log on the right-hand side. Extremely useful when you're mapping your controls within Microsoft Flight Simulator. There will be a link below. Well, this concludes our video of the Max flight controls setup and a quick review / demonstration. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon to get notified of new videos. I'm going to be releasing a whole bunch of videos on this incredible cockpit. And I want to thank all of you guys for being part of the sim community. It's a great community. I'm really looking forward to 2025. I'm having a blast making these videos for you guys. So again, please like and subscribe and support the channel. Thanks so much and have an awesome day.